Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm beyond excited to be bringing on my next guest. He is the voice of Captain America in Marvel's Avengers, Javier Garcia in the Walking Dead Telltale video game series, Bulldozer in Call of Duty Cold War, Frank Aiello in Call of Duty World War II. Of course, my PlayStation wants to beep in the background. But, ladies and gentlemen, can I please get a rounding round of applause for multi-talented artist and motorcycle enthusiast, Jeff Schine? Big moment. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Oh my gosh.
Do I have this camera set up totally terrible?
Yeah, I'm saying your cap. I'm not saying your face. There you go.
Wait, hold on a second. Do I just have to push this away? Dude, I'm so sorry. I apologize to you and everybody else. My IG live. I've not done a good IG live before.
Oh no, you're fine. Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. But thank you
Is
so
there
much.
a way? I guess I'll just hold it. What's up, man? How are you? It's nice to meet you.
It's great. Nice to meet you too, man. I've really been looking forward to this. Let me tilt this up a little bit. I'm really looking forward to this. So thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come speak with me. It's a true honor and a privilege.
Yeah. No, the pleasure's mine. I feel like I want to, right up front, it's so classless to be late, so I want to apologize profusely to you and everybody watching, just because you actually called me right in the middle of I'm moving house today, so I'm actually in between locations right now in my car. But my apologies for being late, man, and thanks for being patient and your understanding. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Where are you moving from?
Well, I'm just moving locations. My wife and I have been in Atlanta for a little while now, and
we're in Atlanta.
Say it again?
That's crazy. Yeah, I live in Atlanta too. Yeah,
oh,
so cool.
You're in Atlanta now?
Yeah,
Yeah, man, right on. So we've been here for a little bit, for a lot of COVID. My wife is working out here. I'm working here and back and forth in Los Angeles. So, but we're going to be here for a little bit. So we're moving house now.
That's so cool. Might see you on the street one day. Who knows?
Yeah, man.
When I see interviews with you, I've done my research because I'm Mr. Journalist, But when people do interviews with you, it's mostly about like video games and stuff. And we're obviously going to talk about video games, but I'm very intrigued about Jeff Schine as a person. So my first question to you is, what is one childhood experience you wish every child around the world could experience?
It's funny, man. I kind of want to answer that question a little bit obtusely, but I'm not trying to dodge you. I actually think, I think to generalize it, experiences that are important are the ones that are very diametrically opposed. So on opposite ends, like I think it's important to, for example, when I was young, my parents, I remember it was like a big deal. I grew up in Connecticut. We were going to go to the city, right? We were going to go to New York. And that was a huge endeavor. And I remember feeling like the weight of that, right? We were going to go specifically for the Christmas show and to see like the Rockettes. And it was like this big deal. And I remember as a kid really feeling the magic of that. In the same respect, my father was very much into like woodworking and being outdoors. And so every year we would vacation at this small little place in Maine. It was near Rangeley Lakes. It's a place called Bald Mountain Camps. Shout out to them. They're phenomenal. And on this lake called Moose Lake Maguntic. So I would spend the mornings, taking a bath in the lake and then canoeing on this like perfectly flat crystalline water with like loons in the background. And I just feel like very fortunate to be able to experience two things that are so different. So I guess it's a long roundabout way of saying I feel really grateful to my parents for creating that much opportunity and variety in my life, and I think that kind of stuff really helps round somebody out.
No, absolutely. I completely agree with you there. I've had a ton of experiences in my life where, whether it be like watching a show that my parents put on me, like Thundercats or Transformers,
right?
Or going to the movie theaters with them early, or going to Florida. I remember going to Florida and getting food sick, but that was an experience that
well,
it's just like, having all those experiences just have helped enrich my life and have made me into who I am today, me using my imagination for things. Like me, I want to become an actor. You know, I auditioned for a couple things. My friends are putting me in things 'cause I just love acting. And if it wasn't for my upbringing and the variety of what I've done, I don't think I would have been this roundabout person that I am. I've changed a lot throughout my life. I mean, I hope people do. I mean, as you get older, things happen. You learn new things. You see new things, new people, new experiences. Things come and go. So I've just grown a lot, and I do attribute a lot of who I am to my childhood because experiences like you described.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, man. I think when you get a chance to, travel experiences in a wide variety, I think they give people, I think you gain an awareness from them, and you realize, how, the small part you play fitting into this much larger universe. And I think that gives you perspective. And I really think perspective is one of the most valuable things.
Oh, yes, perspective and just being aware of your surroundings and being aware of your emotions and things that go on in your life and being upfront with yourself really make a world of difference in one person's life.
Yeah,
And
totally.
yeah, most of the times people who when people think about what they really want to do is usually around high school or in college is when they really discover what they want to do. So how would you say your school environment helped you realize what you really wanted to do with your life?
Um, it's funny. I actually don't know that I felt like, well, so I'd always been interested in acting, but I never really took it as anything more than just something I enjoyed doing. When I was younger, I was in plays and musicals and stuff. I'm not even a particularly very good singer, but I enjoyed it a lot. But it didn't really occur to me that this was like a vocation you could take on. That seemed like something other people did. People on TV to me felt so other than that it didn't feel like something I could touch, but I loved it. I mean, again, before I was drawing these connections, I remember, walking around my house and doing voices. I'd memorize all the lines in a movie. I remember, I think I must have been in third or fourth grade, and I decided I was going to make a list of every movie I'd ever seen and try to remember as many as I could. And it was, hundreds and hundreds. I loved it. And I was obsessed with video games. But again, just kind of like you said, it wasn't until high school that it dawned on me that like this was a thing that I could pursue, and if I was lucky enough, I made it, and worked hard enough, maybe I could make a living out of it. I also think it's about that age when you start thinking about the idea of making a living anyway. You know what I mean? I don't think really when you're a kid you think about earning a living,
Right.
and but it was funny. And then I headed off to college, and I picked the college that I went to in particular because I was sold on the idea of a program that they were doing that seemed right up my alley, which is specifically acting in regards to film and television. That program wasn't quite what my expectation was, so school actually sort of pushed me to find acting in other avenues, and I ended up hooking up with a film group that I worked with for almost all my college career, and then trying to pursue work in the city as well. And so that for me was it was sort of figuring out how to solve the problem of school not providing what I was looking for that led me more deeper into my career.
Most definitely. That's sort of with me too. I'd say how my school was. I mean, there was of course like theater and stuff like that, but really, when I was in high school, it was music and acting. Just watching movies a ton because I didn't get to, sadly I didn't get to hang out with my friends as much as I wanted to because I was mostly cooped in the house and I'd find different things to do, like interviews. When the first pandemic started, I started doing these interviews, and I didn't think I was gonna go far with it because it's just like something to do. I mean, I'm in the house. I mean, how far can I really take this? And
You know,
and yeah,
and then not to cut you off at all, but what you just said isn't surprising to me at all, because when you start something out of love and passion and without any ulterior motives, those are usually the things that you become successful at, because they're the things that you would do for free, right? Like I would act and would do VO and have for nothing because I enjoy it so much. So when you think about starting doing these interviews and you're like, it was just something to do and I enjoyed it, it's not surprising to me that it gets exponentially more successful in whatever way you gauge success, but because it's fueled with like passion and authenticity.
right, absolutely. And I truly do love these. Like speaking to people like you who have just it's been really crazy to see your career in particular because, my first time really getting introduced into your life as an actor or as an artist was through Captain America. And I'm very late. You've been in other things besides Captain America, but that was my first time hearing your voice. I knew you were in The Walking Dead and Mafia 3 and Smite and all these other amazing projects. So, but my first time was really Captain America. Of course, we're going to get into that because we got to talk about that. I mean, because just such a great job that you did with that was just amazing. Yeah, no, I want to say that up front that I really love your Captain America. And when it comes to characters, I'm a fan of. Captain America is one of my all-time fictional characters. And I'm extremely particular on who plays him because of my love for that character. And when I heard you were announced, don't take this the wrong way, but I was like, who the hell is this? Respectfully though, I was like, who is this? And what is he gonna sound like? And I remember seeing when they made the announcement trailer, and then I saw the cast, and I saw you, Nolan North, Travis Willingham, Troy Baker, the bigs, the bigs. Right. And I was like, okay, what is he gonna sound like? Then I saw the beginning, the Aiden, and I was like blown away. I was like, this is Captain America. I like it. I dig it a lot. And I was like, yo, this is really cool. I love what you did with this role as Captain America. I really liked where you went with it. It's very different as opposed to another voice actor I've spoken to, Roger Craig Smith, who's done Captain America and a ton of other projects. He's done video games and animation stuff. And when I heard it was you, I was like, oh, dang, they give him to Roger or something. But I was surprisingly shocked in the best way possible about how well you carried that role, the mantle of Captain America, one of my all-time favorite Marvel superheroes and fictional characters. So you get an A+ in my book. So
thank you, brother. I really appreciate that. That means a lot. I mean, it was when I hear you or people say anything like that, on many levels, I get it. I mean, when you're passionate about something and when you care about something, and when something, whether it's a character or a series or a franchise, or when it matters to you, you're invested in it, and you feel like this personal, like an ownership of it in many ways. And so when I hear that, I get it, but I'm very pleased that for you it lived up to the expectation, man. Like I said, it's a special role for me, so that means a lot. And just real quick, it's so funny because Roger and I have circled each other on a number of different projects, and have worked on similar things, and I have not yet met the man, but I hope one day we get a chance to meet, man. I'm looking forward to getting a chance to work with him. He seems like a hell of a guy.
I'm gonna make it happen. Don't worry about it.
Let's see what you can do.
I have a plan to get y'all to talk to one another. I want to see that happen. I want to see that happen really bad. I think it'd be really cool to see Captain America talking to Captain America. I think that'd be so dope, man.
Yeah.
I haven't really done a lot of interview panels. I did one this year, and it was extremely successful. So well done. It was between the guy Neil Kaplan, who does Madara Uchiha, and Michael Yurchuk for the Naruto franchise. My first panel I've ever done, and the next one I want to do is with you and Roger. So fingers crossed when it gets back to me that we're gonna see a Jeff Schine or Roger Craig Smith meet up for the first time. I'd love that.
On, dude. I love it. I love it. That sounds good to me.
Awesome. Good to know you're on board with that. But to go back to more of your acting background, what was your first acting experience, and how would you say you've grown from your first time acting?
Well, let me ask you a clarification. Like the first time ever, or the first time I was consciously aware that I was. How do I describe this? I'll do it this way. The first time I ever acted was in a school play. And I must have been first grade, maybe first or maybe third grade, and it was in this musical called Happy Valley High, and I played the coach, and who can even remember exactly what that young Jeff was feeling at the time. But you know, I've always been, and one of the things I've always had to work on, and I guess this is maybe the through line, is um, I've had to learn how to not. I've had to really learn how to not care what other people think about what I'm doing. I remember being way too self-aware in the early parts of my career. And it wasn't until much later when I realized and sort of not only realized, but also embraced the notion of, you know, this is my work. I have to be willing to risk everybody not liking it. But I need to go on set and walk off set feeling good about what I've done and knowing that it's truthful and knowing that for me, it was fulfilling. And so I know at least the best place to start for me in whatever I take on is I have to enjoy what I'm doing. If, you know, in so much as the goal can never be to make other people happy, right? So, for instance, this is a great example, just to go back to Cap really quick, right? Very easy starting off on a role like Captain America and go, okay, I gotta make sure, like, what are the things that everyone's gonna want to see? What do I need to do? How do you like? Well, you're fucked right from the get go. It's got to be the performance you want it to be, and then, yes, fingers crossed, people enjoy it, but that can't be the objective. Does that make sense?
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
so you know, I learned that lesson, and it took me years and years and years and years and years, and you know, fuck ups and mistakes and bad choices to really figure out. But that's kind of like the journey of an actor. It sort of paralyze your journey as a person, I think, a lot of the time. Which is once you start to settle into who you are, I think you become a better actor. And you know, for me, that sense of self didn't really galvanize until I was, you know, a little bit later in life, and maybe some people find that much younger. But I wasn't. I was very insecure, and it took me a long time to get to that place where I could stand in my own shoes and feel confident about what that looked like.
Man, we share the similar stories and experiences, man. I was the same way, and I'm still growing out of that because I just graduated high school, you know. So I'm fresh out of trying to figure out who I really am as a person, or where I fit
Yeah.
into the world, or how I fit as an entertainer. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I
Yeah.
was just gonna. I mean, I don't want to be. I don't want to be like preachy at all. But you know, the great thing is, man, I think there's. I actually think there's too much pressure put on people your age to know who you are. You don't eat like have more questions than answers because I don't know, man. I just remember that time in that period feeling like either A, I knew I had it all figured out and I didn't, or the pressure that I should have it all figured out and I didn't. So I guess that's just a long way of saying the way you're feeling right now, man. I identify with, and I think I don't think you have a problem at all.
I appreciate that, and do not apologize for wanting to add something. I really want it to just be a conversation, a back and forth,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
really a vibe between people, just like two dudes chatting it up and having fun.
totally.
Because you know, I see a lot of the interviews where it's just kind of like stone cold, like the hi question, yeah, cool question, yeah, cool. I don't like that. That's trash. Like that's trash to me. And I really
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to shut it up and just make it a conversation between two dudes, just talking about the amazing work they've done and share some of my experiences with them, so they learn a little bit about me as well. So you know,
Right
I
on.
just love that. That's another reason I love just doing interviews, meeting new people, hopefully becoming friends with people, seeing their journey, them seeing my journey in this industry is just really awesome to me. I love history. I love learning about people. I love learning about you, like just from the few seconds, just minutes of talking to you. It's fantastic. I love that. I just love learning. I always love learning.
Oh,
Never
thank
slack in history class. I would fail every other class, but history on point,
you.
hundreds all the time.
Really?
Never gonna. Yeah, I couldn't. Every other subject, I'd fall asleep. But history, eyes wide open. You know, so I love
Good,
it.
man.
Yeah. You know, you've had an amazing acting career, and I'm sure there's more stuff down the pipeline coming. NDAs, you know, you can't say too much, but I know you got some great projects that are probably coming on the way. And of course, while you're a major presence in the voice acting industry now with Captain America and Chris Redfield, people might not know that you're also an on-camera actor. So, what would you say is the major difference between on-camera and voice acting?
Um, I guess I sort of felt like for a long time there's been this I almost feel like it's like something people have like pushed, which is that there should be this huge difference between VO um, and on camera. And even at the beginning, I remember when I had been doing on camera and decided I wanted to also take on voiceover, and people were like, "You can't do both careers at the same time. Like, there's just no way." And this is before, even very recently, and even more so, like in the recent past, you see many, especially like prominent A-list actors appearing in a lot of voice work, and even in games now starting to happen more and more. But I remember being really confused by this sentiment. But I was like, well, maybe there's something I don't know. When I start getting into VO, I'll find out. But I would say, honestly, you're just talking about technique being different, possibly, but it's the same approach. Like, I'm sorry, not technique. I misspoke. The technicalities of it are different, but the technique is the same. The approach is the same. At the end of the day, you just have to switch a little bit of the technicalities, but acting is acting is acting, and truthful is truthful is truthful. And if it's authentic, it doesn't matter if it's whether it's through the diaphragm of a microphone or the lens of a camera. Everybody knows when it's false. And so it's the same process. You got to, you have to know who that character is, what they're doing there, what they want. It's the same work. And so I guess the boring answer is I don't feel like there's a lot of difference other than the environment you have to work in and the tools you have to use. But you have to bring the same you regardless of what the project is.
Absolutely. And to go back to talking about when people phone it in, you can really tell when people are phoning it in. You can really tell they're just doing it.
It's the difference between, I mean, look, same two people, same amount of talent, an easel and a paintbrush. And one guy loves it, and one guy's trying to cash a check. You know what I mean? Like, that's really, I always feel like it boils down to like passion and just how far you're willing to push yourself, perhaps into your discomfort. But you can even tell when a great actor who really cares also like loved that project. You can like feel it in the performance, or like you could like, I know that guy had fun on set, or I know that girl had a great time working on that project. You can just tell because it oozes out of every little bit of that thing. As opposed to they're like, oh, this one was just they had to do this, or they were obligated to the studio to do another project, or what, you know what I mean? You can feel it. You always know it's the intangible.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that is really important that I've learned from speaking to actors or just voice actors in general is just to have the right intention for anything you do in the entertainment industry, whether it be acting or music, to do it for the love of it, and then the check come afterwards. Because if you're really focused and fixated on the money, it's gonna bleed into whatever you do, and it's gonna show that you're desperate for the change, or you just really care about the money more than the project.
And look, and the other thing too is, for me, I'm someone. So I'm not taking credit for this. It's not original thought, but I loved it when I heard it. And I heard it again recently and was reminded of this quote, which is just like, look, you can fail doing what you hate. So you might as well fail doing what you love. So you when you start out and you try to do something out of a genuine love and passion, you have a much greater chance of success, in my opinion. Because and I tell people this all the time. I feel very, very, yes, there's an element of luck, but I guess fortunate maybe is a better word. But I don't work. I don't feel like I've worked. I worked before I was an actor a lot. I worked all the fucking time. but I've always said any day on set is a good day. Any day on set is a good day. It's not work. I don't care if they're 18-hour days. I don't care if they're tight turnarounds. I don't care if we're forced calls and meal penalties and all this. So it's like, out of all the places I could be, for me, for Jeff, it's an amazing place to be. For other people, set might not be a great place. It is not for sure like the end all be all. I got this guy right now who's doing some work on our home, and I can tell he feels the same way when he's working with wood and building, and I watch him, and it's one of the reasons I've like been standing there like and just picking his brain all day long. I'm probably a pain in the ass, but when you see somebody who loves what they do, it's fucking contagious. You want some of that. You know what I mean? Whatever it is for you.
Absolutely, and just picking up on the good energies and good vibes off of people. Oh, it's definitely bound to rub off on you. You know.
Yeah.
How'd you get into voice acting?
So like I said, I've been doing on camera for a long time. I'd always loved doing like voices, and I've always loved cartoon and animation. And I'm kind of musical. I'm musically inclined. I played like piano when I was a kid, and I've always had a musical ear. When I would learn an instrument, it was usually by what I would play what I could hear. I was never good at like reading music, but I could always just mimic what I could hear. And voiceover for me is just music. The way it sounds, the way you play, even whether it's commercial or anything else, there's a musicality to it. So I've been doing on camera for a long time, and I was interested in it. I wanted to do it. I was becoming more and more aware of like games and acting in games and cartoons, and I was like, this is just I want to do this. I'm gonna give it a shot. And I give I owe a lot to a friend of mine, Motion Melvin, who he's a tremendous voice actor. He does a lot of narration and commercial work and promo work and radio. And the dude he's a great voice actor. And he had been an on-camera actor for a little while in college, and then had pivoted exclusively to VO. So long way around too. I had somebody who I could look to and say, how do I begin this thing? He gifted me my first microphone, which I still record on today, out of just the kindness of his heart. And he just kind of showed me the ropes and pointed me in the direction of some classes and, things, people I might want to talk to. And then I have to say, just as a shout out, to some people who need no shout outs from me because they are fucking giants in this industry and just legends. But there were some people in VO who took a coffee with me, or allowed me to take a class when they didn't have room, or would give me advice or listen to an audition. And I'm talking like people that had no business helping me. But these are the kind of people I found I run into all the time, especially in voiceover. Guys like Bob Bergen, Charlie Adler, and these giants in the industry. And so I had some like really great people that like gave really great advice, or I took a really great class from. And then you work hard and you screw up a lot and you suck and you keep doing it anyway.
You learn from every experience you go through, positive or negative. More so from the negative, just learning how to not do that again, and just learn from that and really hone on your craft and make it great. But to go back to just talking about like how amazing the voice acting world and like universe is, like how nice and kind every voice actor I've spoken to, or just hearing how voice actors interact with one another, is so amazing and makes me smile from ear to ear, because it's just like you guys are so nice to one another. And it's just it's so unique to that industry. Not saying that people on camera are all mean and evil and devils. No, not at all. But I'm just
I know what you mean.
It's more common in the voice acting industry, hearing how nice people are or being so considerate. One story I always love to tell is there's this voice actor, I don't know if you know who he is, but David Sobolov, who did the voice of Drax in Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, and Transformers Prime. At the time, David was doing Shockwave for Transformers Prime, but at the same time, there was a video game going on for another Transformers thing, and Shockwave was being auditioned for, and Steve Bloom auditioned for it, and eventually did get it. But before he even auditioned, he asked David if it was okay for him to even consider doing it. David gave him the go-ahead, and he was Shockwave in those past 3 games. So it's just so amazing hearing those stories, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's a smaller community, especially when you're talking about games and animation. It's a small group of people for the most part, but there's a lot of respect. And, I've also had, similar situations where, I've had, some friends or I've been the person who makes the call and said like, hey, I'm reading for this role. I actually don't think I'm very right for it, but I know you could smash it. So you should definitely make sure you read for it. Or I've told the casting director, have you thought about so and so for this, because he or she I think is like right in the pocket for this. I think I don't know, man. There's definitely plenty of times where it feels like there's not enough work, but there's enough work out there for everybody, and the jobs that are yours, and the jobs that aren't. And I think you have to learn, and I say this like I've learned it, but I need daily and weekly reminders. You got to learn how to let go. And I think the more positivity you put out there, the more positivity comes back. And frankly, even if it doesn't come back, positivity is such an easier way to fucking live. It's just so much easier.
It really is just spreading that positive and good energy around with people and boosting up someone's mood or giving them a big ups when they're down is just an amazing way to live and help make this world a better place as we go along throughout our life.
Totally.
And now to switch over to my first time hearing your voice acting, Captain America. I recently bought Marvel's Avengers, completed the whole campaign. Nice. I really enjoyed it, man. I know people are mixed about it, like, I don't want to play it, but I enjoyed it, especially Captain America. Captain America is my number one, like, load up character. Cap, like, I'm going in there, banging people in the head with the shield and flipping them up and smashing on the ground and seeing the ground break around when the shield hits it, and oh god, I love it. Or throwing Cap's shield. I feel like Captain America. I freaking love
that, dude.
I love it so much. And you, like I said, you knocked it out of the park as Captain America. You really did a great job, and it's so different from other voice actors you've done. I mean, obviously you're not them, so it is going to be different, but just the way you interpreted Captain America's cadences or like what he does or the way he says certain things, I picked up on it and I freaking loved it. Like I said, Chris Evans is my Captain America to the day I die. I don't care, but you really did great with that, and I really do want to give you your props and congratulations. I mean, a year just passed since it came out, right? The Marvel's Avengers came out, right?
Yeah, we just hit a year. Actually, you're right. We just passed a year.
So, congratulations. I mean, it's still going strong. I mean, Spider-Man is coming out later this year. Of course, the Black Panther DLC came out a couple of weeks ago, and people are loving the crap out of that. So it's really crazy to see how the game is still going strong, even after all the mixed reviews and reactions. And I follow the Marvel Avengers account, and to just see them talking about, hey, we're retweaking the system. It should be out by the end of the year, and we're really trying to make. And I'm just really happy that they're trying to make this into something great, and they're actively listening to us, the fans, and trying to make this into something that we could carry forever. And then, like, I'm just so excited seeing the MCU skins come to the game, like the Infinity War skin for Cap. I'm like, I don't need it. Or Iron Man 1 suit from the Iron. Like, I love it all. I can talk about.
I'm glad, man.
Yeah, it's just, and I'm really glad to bring you on because like I said, huge fan of your Captain America, and I learned that you also did mocap for him, right?
Yeah, we did. We did what's essentially, I guess, more often they refer to as like PCAP, which is a combination of facial capture and motion capture, which is so body and face. So we did everything in the volume, and that was those were fun days, man. It's not every day where collectively a group of people go, we're all going to agree for the next 8 hours you're Captain America, and have a great day. So it was a very, very humbling and rewarding.
Awesome to hear that. But before we dive deep into Captain America, what is your history with the Marvel franchise? Did you audition for things from Marvel before? Were you a fan of the movies, comic books, anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I've always enjoyed. I mean, so it's funny. I've always enjoyed comics, but I found myself always kind of like digesting the art more than I ever like really dove into story. One of the first comics I ever remember was actually an Iron Man, and I guess it was a run. And if I misspeak on this, or if my childhood brain has flipped it around and there's a comic book expert out there, or if you're one, just be gentle with me. But there was a run, I guess, where Tony Stark was paralyzed and he was in like a wheelchair, And that was the Iron Man that I knew, and I remember that sticking with me a lot. Really having an affinity for that story. So I mean, I read some comics growing up. Loved a lot of comic video games. Um, Obviously, with the birth of the MCU and the juggernaut that is, those have been some of my favorite movies in a long time. Especially the way they wrapped up at least that first chapter with Infinity War and Endgame. I just remember sitting there with my wife afterwards. Both of us were kind of like with tears in our eyes, just being like, "That's just a fucking great movie." I mean, that's just everything you want. And what I love that Marvel does very well, um, especially in the Avengers, is I feel like they tell stories first that just happen to be about superheroes. But it's so human that, like, you know, it would be easy to do a movie that was just action. You've got a ton of superpowers to play with, and they do, right? But if you don't care about why Cap's throwing a shield, or why Black Widow is torn in this decision, like, then eventually all the cool shit gets old. You got to care. You have to be invested, and I think the MCU just crushes it. So, and then obviously when and there's been smaller Marvel projects throughout the animated and video game world, and I've auditioned for stuff and gotten closer on some and not closer on others, and this was just, I guess, the right time and the right group of people, and I was for them the right guy for this particular project. And you jump on board, and you get the cast list, and it's hard not to think about, for at least a couple seconds, the MCU, and go, how am I going to coexist with that? Like, I don't disagree with you at all. I think Chris Evans is a fucking phenomenal Cap. I mean, the dude's phenomenal. There's just it's hard to debate that. So you got to figure out how to make. You got to do your own. You got to do your own thing, and mostly that's just by forgetting what you've already seen.
I mean, yeah, when you talk about the hype, I mean, Marvel's Avengers came right after Avengers Endgame, so people are off that high. They want to see more stories with these characters. I mean, even now with Phase 4, what they're going into with now the branching into the TV shows, I hear they want to do more animation, so that'll be great for voice actors, amazing voice actors like you, getting more opportunities to be a part of the ever-growing MCU, because it's just getting bigger and bigger. I mean, with Spider-Man coming out, we're hearing talks of the multiverse, like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield coming back into that, or Doctor Strange 2. We're hearing stuff like the X-Men are going to be in that. Like, that's insane, Like, it's really getting bigger, and people are going to want more of these stories with characters they love. And, this industry is not going to get any smaller anytime soon. In fact, it's going to get much larger with stuff like VR and AR and being able to take stuff on your phone, on the go, and mobile games, and just, this industry is just going to get bigger and bigger as time goes on. And it's been such, video games and entertainment like that has been such a major part of my life. Like, I have tons of Marvel video games. I have a whole crate of comic books right here. I have comics on the wall. I have, like, posters, craft, and this is only going to get bigger. So I'm so excited to see where they go next. What was the audition process like for Captain America? Were you given instructions, or, like, were you told to do something with your voice? How'd that go?
No, I mean, and it's not so uncommon. We very, very often, especially the larger the project, you get you have very, very little information. I did not know it was Avengers. I didn't even know it was Marvel. But interestingly enough, so the audition came through like any other audition I get. My agent was like, "There's this project," and very little fanfare about it. Just here's the project, here's the sides, give us the tape when you're done. And I remember taping it with my wife, and after the tape, or sometime during the taping, she was like, this reminds me of," and I was like, "No." She's like, she's like, "It's got a real who's that guy in the comics with the jacket?" I was like, "Captain America?" She was like, "Yeah, this kind of feels like Captain America," and I was like, "Yeah, okay, sure." And then so we sent my tape in. I did a callback with casting. I did a second callback, I think, with casting, and then a third with the director. um, in on the mocap stage, and the scene we auditioned with was the scene where Cap and Kamala are at the A Day looking at like the statue, and um, and even then I had no idea what it was. All the names been changed, everything was different, and then I got the call from my agent afterwards telling me what the project was, and I was like, oh wow, that's crazy. And then she called me back like I don't know, maybe 30 or 40 minutes later, and she was like, listen, you're available. So the first thing they usually do when they're interested in a project is they check to see if you're available. And she was like, listen, I'm calling to tell you something might be happening. You're going to be available for it. And I was like, oh, okay, you know. And then she called me back later on and she was like, so you booked this job. And I remember I was in the car with my wife at the time, and I remember saying to her, like, it's cool. I've been doing this for a while. I know not to get too excited yet. Let's just wait to see if I don't get excited until I've shot the first day, you know, got my first paycheck, and we know we're like, because anything can happen, and it does. And I was also like, look, babe, it could be like a smaller mobile game. It could be like a quick 2 lines. It could be anything. You know, it's awesome, but let's just reserve. And then I emailed my agent. I was like, hey, do you happen to know like who the cast is? Have they cast anybody else? And then she sent me the cast list. And so actually what happened was, I'll back up for a second. I know this is long-winded. Stay with me. So she says, I said, do you know who the cast is? And I send the email and I look to my wife and I go, if it's big, I said, if it's a big game, I bet you, wouldn't it be cool if these 3 or 4 people were in it? And I almost named everybody who ended up getting cast. And then she sent me the cast list back, and it was all those guys and girls. And I just said I just looked at my wife, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is not going to be a small game." And then that was it. And then we were off to the races.
Wow, and I mean, obviously that cast is stacked, man. Troy Baker, Nolan North, Travis Willingham, Laura Bailey.
Yeah, yeah.
Just it's so huge. What was it like working with people like Troy Baker?
Well, you know, I'm really grateful. Troy and I have remained, you know, really good friends since, and we speak frequently. And what is there to say about Troy? He's just a great dude. He's immensely talented. He's a hell of a nice guy. He's a great dad. He's just, dude. I mean, he's a guy I feel very lucky to call a friend. You know, I mean, he's just a good man. He's a really good man, and he's given me some very sage wisdom, you know, about fatherhood, which I've entered into now, and you know, we've walked some similar paths and shared some experiences. So I mean, you know, Troy in particular, I have a huge affinity for. He's a good friend of mine and a hell of a guy, you know. And then that being said, everybody else on the set was phenomenal, and you know, anytime we bump into each other, it's nothing but friend. I mean, Travis and Laura and Nolan, I mean, they're just great people. When you work on a set, you hope, I expect professionalism. I don't like ego. You hope that you also really get along and people are fun. So when you get all that wrapped up into one and immensely talented, you just like, please, can I never leave this set? Can I just stay on this set forever? Because everyone's so fucking cool. And Sandra came in. It was her first game. Just murdered it. Murdered it. She's so good. Usman. I mean, there's just so many like great people, and every day was fun. And then Sean, our director, is just such a like, exactly the kind of guy we were talking about before. Clearly, not just directing, loving every bit of it. You get Bill Roseman from Marvel, who's just a walking encyclopedia of comics. And if you ask him anything about anybody or any issue or any little, he knows all the lore, and like, you know, you cannot help but be pulled into the vortex of somebody who cares so deeply. Sorry, I know I'm being long-winded about this, but it's just great people.
No, I was about to say you've been,
and I'm not just saying that.
Yeah, no, I was about to say you've been with so many amazing people, and this has been a crazy journey for you, I would imagine. I mean, you're Captain America, you're Chris Redfield. I mean, you're doing big things now. Like, you're really making it in this industry, and you're bound to meet amazing people who have been in this industry for so long who are so willing to help you. I mean, I know you can't help it just, sing their praises and let us know how helpful they've been in your life. And congratulations on your child. I mean, I want to say that first. And
Oh,
that's a huge
thanks.
feat. Yeah, I know it's a huge feat, and you're probably very tired. So again, I appreciate you coming on.
It's
Yeah.
it's so funny. Yeah, it's just funny. She was teething the other night, so she was up the whole night. So I don't know, man. If you decide at some point in your life to be a dad, um, it's the fucking best.
I'll be sure to reach out to you first to ask for any advice.
Dude, it's the best. And I feel like I come from a pretty good perspective because I spent most of my life thinking I would never do it. And I can't imagine not having done it. It's the best thing.
To go back to us talking about Captain America, there have been so many iterations of this character, whether it be video games or cartoons. What was your favorite thing about this iteration of Captain America in particular? Because what I think they did with this version of Cap was very interesting. Of course, we thought he died in A Day, but later on, spoilers. If you haven't played the game, leave. But we find out that he's been captured by the evil doctor lady, and he's been taking Cap's blood and stuff. We find out so many interesting stuff about the interaction. It was just so cool seeing Tony and Cap hugging one another. Were you and Nolan actually doing that, or was that someone
Yeah.
else?
No, we mocapped that whole thing.
That's freaking out.
Yeah, it was that was a good day. That was a fun day. I felt like we did some good work that day. I like the version of Cap that they created. For me, the thing that jumped out to me off the page right away, and I thought would be an interesting take on Steve, and that I could really lean into was, there's a vulnerability to Cap that I think maybe doesn't always get addressed quite as often. I started thinking about who he is and where we find him. First of all, on his best day, Cap is a man out of his time, right? Like he's kind of like lost. He's this outlier from this time gone. So he's always a little out of place, right? His jokes don't always line up, doesn't always get the references. And that's got to be, even for a strong of character, strong of heart individual, it's got to be unsettling that everything around you feels foreign all the time. So, and then we find him in this situation, where he's making really hard decisions and decisions that it's in particular for Cap, I think, are impossible. How you weigh the few against the many, and so I just thought, like, it's cool to watch a leader question their ability to lead, if they should be leading. Are they doing a good job? And some of my favorite pieces were some of the audio files that we did, because you find this guy speaking to like the one person he really has to confide in, like the love of his life, and just being like, I got a second chance. Now I get a third chance. Do I deserve that? Do I, have I earned that? Am I supposed to be leading? And then for me, all of that is what makes him such a great leader. I think great leaders are the ones, and I know I've said this before, but I think great leaders are the ones who question their ability to lead. Like, I want the guy who can do it, but every day goes, should I? And am I doing it well? Because that guy's paying attention. And so for me, like, it's all that stuff in Cap that I think is great, because you get all the strength, and I actually think it's bolstered up by the vulnerability.
And that's one thing that's been interesting about Captain America for me, is just that sort of fish out of water thing, and that vulnerable side of him questioning things and seeing what's right and what's wrong, and just trying to understand the world around him. It's just been so amazing to watch in the movies or other iterations of the character. I really did enjoy that aspect of the campaign, just seeing Captain America, especially when he was talking to Black Widow, like, questioning himself to her, and they're just talking back and forth about that. I really love that scene in particular. It was such a well done scene between you and Laura, and it's just so cool to see what you guys are doing with Captain America. And obviously there's so many storylines. I mean, we're hearing rumors that they might add Bucky to the video game and stuff like that, and they're trying to really do things with Captain America. So, is there one thing in particular that you would like to see done with this version of Captain America, either in DLC or maybe a potential sequel?
Ooh, you know, I. I mean, I've always thought, obviously, like from the comics and the MCU, I always thought his relationship with Bucky was interesting. Um, I don't know. I find for me, as a generality, it's better for me not to like hope or plan, and to always be pleasantly surprised and lean into where I go. I'm happy to take Steve, as far as they are willing to allow me to do it. As long as they keep asking me to come back, and if they're interested in doing that with me, I'm super grateful and humbled, and would love to keep doing it. Um, one of the other things I thought that was really cool that we explored too, which for me was a great, not to tie this back in again, but I loved his relationship with Kamala. This real sort of like fatherly, but like it's this fatherly relationship, but also like very tenuous because like she's so capable. Do we bring her in? Do we keep her out? Like, how do I protect this person? And is it my place to protect them? And should I hold them back? And is that, I mean, so for me, I thought that it was such a cool relationship to get to flesh out also. So
Awesome. Will this be the last time we hear you as Captain America?
I hope not, but that's not up. I mean, it's not up to me. I hope not. The good news is that nobody ever tells me anything, so I can't even lie. So I don't know. I hope not. I can tell you I'm up for it. If it comes down, I'm always ready to pick up the shield.
I'm so excited, and obviously, we have Spider-Man coming out later this year, or around the time No Way Home comes out. Have you done anything with a Spider-Man? Have you done any mocap or?
I I don't know.
Okay.
I couldn't even. I couldn't tell you one way or the other. But it
All
sounds
right.
exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing the DLC.
I'm excited too, man, and just where this game goes next. You've been in major franchises, Call of Duty, which I want to talk about now.
Yeah.
I've been a fan of for a while. Of course, you were Frank Aiello in Call of Duty World War II. You've been Bulldozer most recently in Cold War. Apparently you were in Black Ops 4 and Advanced Warfare too, right?
Yep. Yep.
What did you
Yeah.
do in those two games? Because I didn't see anything like a
Um.
particular character.
This is gonna sound shitty, but it's because it's kind of hard to remember. I know in Advanced Warfare early on, I was. This is a great example. I had been cast as a character. By the time we got into production, the script had changed entirely. That character had essentially disappeared, and so they brought me in. So I did a lot of like additional voices for that, which for most voice actors, Soldier 3 or additional voices are the backbone of your career. You spend a lot of time doing that. So forever, soldier number 3 forever. Um, yeah, that dude is my favorite guy. But and then in Black Ops, I believe I played a couple FBI agents, or CIA. I genuinely cannot remember. I would have to go back and look, but it wasn't main characters. They were in a couple of key scenes, and then I think that was it. But then yeah, Aiello and Bulldozer were more significant.
Which Call of Duty have you had the most fun with, and which character personally resonates with you the most?
I think Aiello was the most well. Aiello was a great experience just because again it was another one of those like amazing cast. It felt like we were doing Band of Brothers. Just great dudes, and we spent so much time together that we really formed this great bond. So that was a cool project. Also, like anytime you can sort of pay homage to the greatest generation and tell those stories in and around World War II is a real honor, and we all treat it, I think, with a pretty serious degree of reverence. And then but as far as just sheer fun, I mean Bulldozer's fun. I mean, that dude's fun. We got to just like we just played. I think we did something like 2,400 or 1,800 lines of dialogue for him, um, and you're just cranking out, and then then you get to like the sort of you're cranking all the basics, you know, frag out, watch my left, cover my sig, this all that shit, and you just grind it. But then you get into like the sort of like more fun like color lines, and you know, it was just a blast. Blast. The people at Call of Duty have been very, very, very good to me.
Have you played any of the Call of Duty games you're in, or do you just not?
No, I'm a gamer for sure. I played through World War II and played some of the multiplayer. I still play, and now currently I'll play Warzone with my buddies. I mean, when I get the chance, but if I'm going to jump on and play something right now, it's probably Warzone.
Got you. That's a big thing too. That battle royale Warzone thing. Huge. They're always adding something new. I mean, obviously they're doing an event right now for Cold War.
Yeah.
There's a Call of Duty coming out, Call of Duty Vanguard.
I've heard of that.
Are you part of that?
I mean, I've heard of it for sure.
Okay.
Come on, man. I can't.
Right. Okay.
I don't know. Not to my knowledge. But it looks awesome. It looks dope.
And of course, Laura Bailey is in that as well as tons of other amazing.
Yeah, Laura's awesome. Laura's badass.
Now let's switch into Resident Evil. Chris Redfield is an amazing character. People are loving you now for his, and I saw some of the clips and the way he looks. He looks so badass. It's so cool with the black trench coat on and just like looks so cool. Kind of reminiscent of like a Nick Fury type of character, in my opinion. He looks the part a little bit, so he looks dope.
Yeah, he looks mean.
Yeah. What was your favorite thing about voicing Chris Redfield?
Again, maybe this is an interesting through line. I mean, first, another opportunity to step into like a huge franchise with a character that is so recognizable, and I sort of enjoy now the pressure that comes with that. But also, again, picking up Chris in this little bit of a beat down state. I think I've always liked the anti-hero. I've always liked picking up a hero with some vulnerability and some struggle. I think struggle is really interesting, especially on a hero. And I guess I've just been like lucky enough to get a chance to play a lot of these sort of hero roles. I'm very grateful to be able to do that. And so when Steve, the director, offered me the role of Chris, I just thought it was going to be a great challenge and the opportunity to work with some people that I love again, and see where it took us. And I hope I get to be Chris for a long time.
People are showing you so much love in the comments, and I've seen people all over social media just calling you the best Chris Redfield, and they're loving you. And I guess you did a fantastic job. Did you do mocap for him too?
Yeah. We mocapped almost everything. There were a few things that traditionally I would have mocapped, but we were right smack in the middle of COVID, and some things I did not. And that's not actually so uncommon on a project. Many times, you'll do all your mocap and they'll need to do like a quick pickup, and it's just more time efficient scheduling wise. That they maybe can't get all the actors, and so they'll have like someone come in, like either stunts or whatever, to come in and complete some mocap. But very, very little that I did not get a chance to do. Almost everything else I got to mocap myself.
Awesome. You've been in the Resident Evil franchise for a minute, obviously, where you were Carlos. How you say his last name?
Oliveria.
Oliveria. I'm sorry, I suck at pronouncing names, so y'all.
That's all right.
That's all right. I suck at pronouncing names, anyways. But what has been your favorite thing being a part of the Resident Evil franchise as a whole?
I mean, And it doesn't go without saying, it should be said, one of the best parts about the franchise, truly, the fans of the Resident Evil franchise are so passionate and so like warm and cool and giving, and have been so receptive, and I've tried my best, along with some of the other people who I've worked with a couple of times now, to be as present and as interactive as time permits. But it's such a cool community to engage with. They're just like so fun and interested and passionate, and so that's been incredibly rewarding. And in particular, I've felt a lot of love from them in both roles and in my involvement in the the RE universe. So that for me is one of the best things. For, at least for me, for the kind of person that I am, it's really hard to not take a step back and really be grateful for people who are interested in or find value in the thing that you do. And I feel a tremendous amount of gratitude, and very humbled by the positivity that I receive personally.
I'm just so glad you're getting the love you deserve. I could really, and I don't say that just because you're here, I genuinely see you being considered one of the best voice actors of all time when everything is said and done. I genuinely think that. I really can see you being put up there with a Fred Tatasciore or a Steve Bloom, just the way you're so dedicated to your characters and the way each of them you play is different. You could tell it's you, but they're different. You could tell they're completely different characters from one another, and you do such a great job with that. And I really can see you being considered with a Steve Bloom or a D. Bradley Baker. These are just giants in the industry who've been here for so long.
You're saying names, and I'm like, I want to hang out with those guys. I want to meet those guys. Yeah, I mean it's very very kind of you to say, and I take the compliment with a lot of gratitude. I appreciate that. Thank you for saying that.
Absolutely. Real quick before I go into the fun part of my interviews that I love to do with everyone, how long did you have to keep this secret that you were Captain America?
I'm notoriously bad with time. You can ask my wife, but I would say at least a year and a half, if not maybe longer. I don't remember how long we were in production for, but it's an absurdly long amount of time. In fact, it's almost better that you don't remember, because you have to sort of actively put it out of your mind. But it's really hard, again, especially when you love something. I want to share and I want to talk, and but I'm very good at keeping secrets. Unfortunately, I'm very good.
Good. I mean, hey, if you can do that, you'll be in this industry for a very long time. So
well, I actually think sharing secrets and spoiling things, though, I actually find it to be an incredibly selfish act. It's like selfish under the guise of selfless. But for me, at least on the production side of it, there are so many people who spend so much time, building this story, figuring out how they're going to promote it, tell it, sell it, get people engaged. Actors, we come in the final hour and contribute our voice to it. And I'm not diminishing our importance. I'm certainly not diminishing anybody else's importance. But to act like it's just my thing to talk about, it's a total disrespect to all the people who fucking grind out months of their life on it. And so I sort of feel like, the least I can do is keep my mouth shut.
Absolutely. Now, Carlos versus Chris Redfield. Who you got?
Carlos for fun, Chris for legacy. Unless you're talking about a fight.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about a fight too. Let's do a fight.
Oh, fight too? Ooh. I gotta go Chris.
Yeah, he can kill anybody. So I mean, hey, look how good he is. But now I'm gonna transition to the fun part of my interview. It's called Weird and Wacky, where you have 1 minute to answer a series of weird and random questions. No one has gotten to a record of 15 questions, although the current championship holder is Simon Norfleet with a record of 14 questions answered in 1 minute. Do you think you could beat him?
14 sounds low.
You'd be surprised. All right.
Let's go. I'm ready. Let's do this.
Okay. I'm about to start the timer. 3, 2, 1. Longest time period without taking a shower.
3 days.
Least favorite drink.
Mountain Dew.
Favorite meal.
Sushi.
Dumbest thing you did as a kid.
Jump off a tree.
Favorite animal.
Red panda.
Describe your life in one word.
Unpredictable.
Favorite superhero.
Wolverine. Gambit. Sorry, go.
Favorite movie growing up.
The Matrix.
Favorite movie franchise growing up.
Lord of the Rings.
Would you rather have no teeth or no hands?
No teeth.
Would you rather be stuck in rotten milk or dumped in trash juice?
Trash juice.
Favorite brand of shoes?
Converse.
And time. 12 questions answered.
12?
Yeah.
Dude, I think your timer's fucked up. That doesn't sound right. It's because I backtracked on Gambit, wasn't it? Can you tell I'm competitive? Fuck.
Don't worry. Hey, Jeff, with the way you're going, this will not be the last time I bring you on. So
I was going to say, you know this means we got to do it again, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I want to go. I'm going round 2. I don't like this at all. No, I'm pissed.
Okay. Hey, that's great for me. But before I get to my last question, I have to ask you. I'd just like to say that it's been a huge honor being able to chat with you and just chill with you. I'm a huge fan of yours, and just seeing the trajectory of where your career is headed, I'm immensely excited for you, and I'm just really glad you gave me some of your time. And thank you so much. I really hope you've enjoyed your time here. But
I have, and thank you.
Absolutely. My final question to you is, what is your current message to the world during these current times that we live in? Obviously, we're living in a global pandemic. Laws are being changed. Things are so uncertain around the world. If you were given a mic and everyone can hear you, what would you say to the world?
I actually think it's kind of simple, man. And it's funny because I've been thinking about it. I actually think about this a lot because more so maybe than ever, we all are in a very obviously different but very similar place. We're all going through this sort of unifying experience, and I really feel like what we could all use a little bit more of is some kindness. Kindness goes a long way. Being nice goes a long way, and really remembering that everybody's in a struggle. Everybody is in a struggle, and if you can just take a second to appreciate what somebody else might be going through, very rarely do I think anybody is just at their bones evil. People are just struggling, man. We're all just humans. We're all just like blood bags bouncing around this planet, trying not to fuck it up too bad. And I recognize, I think in myself that if I'm lucky in this life, I will figure my own self out if I'm lucky. So I deserve compassion, and then so do the people around me, because we're all just trying our best. So just be kind, be patient, and be humble. And I think things will be a lot easier.
Completely agree, and I share the same sentiment. Kindness goes a long way. I mean, I can think of times when I was in a really dark place and someone just said hello to me and just talked to me. That it just really helped a bunch. So y'all just do that, man, and it just goes a long way.
It makes a difference, man. I don't want to get preachy. It's a great question. It's a great question, and I just feel like I think people have a greater impact on the world around them than they think. This is what I would say. Instead of looking for inspiration, be inspirational.
Completely agree. Jeff, is there anything you want to plug before we head off?
No, man, no plugs, but I just want to say thanks for your time, man, and being so genuine and authentic. I really appreciate it, and thank you to anybody who's sticking around and watching. I appreciate you guys lending your time to me as well. So just thanks, man, and I wish you the best, and I look forward to talking to you again.
Oh yeah, this will not be the last time. Trust and believe that. And don't forget, you have a signing coming up sometime soon too.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess I could. I always feel so weird plugging. Nicole Tompkins and I had a piece of art created for Resident Evil Village, and we'll be signing that. I believe October 6th. No, sorry, November 6th. We'll actually be together signing it. So if you want to check that out, we do it over on streamily.com. So that's my plug.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much, Jeff, and definitely stay in touch. And I hope to talk to you all soon. Thank you so much for joining, and stay safe. Thank you. Have a good one.